Welcome back to another episode of Hot Mess Espresso, guys. We have Ryan freaking Lewis on the podcast today. And as he just said before we started recording, the shit show shall now begin. What's
Indeed.
up, Ryan?
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Not so bad. Not so bad. We're doing pretty good,
I'm,
actually.
I'm kind of wishing that we had recorded like at least some of that conversation because that was hilarious. But
No, not at all. That was terrible.
no.
No,
Oh my God.
off record.
It's off record. It was great. It was wonderful. I know we're like halfway through this like chat, and he's like, "You're not recording this, are you?" I'm like, "No, we haven't recorded anything. It's fine. Everything's fine."
I almost hit that crow button there.
Oh my God. But yeah. So you're here finally. We've had to
Finally.
work around a few things.
It's okay.
So I also took a couple months off of filming, so it's fine. But tell me, you already have, but tell me and everyone listening a little bit about like your mental health journey, military, all that fun stuff. And like how the hell you wound up on TikTok.
Oh man, that's a big bomb to unpack right off the get. Well, all right. Let's see. How do I wrap that up? Um, I guess we could start when I started in the military. I guess if that's where we're going.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, let's see. I was originally gonna join the Marines, but it was what 2010, and they came out with a policy at that point where they did not accept. Maybe it was 2010. They didn't accept GEDs anymore. I'm actually a GED
What?
recipient. Yeah, yeah. They stopped accepting GEDs at the Marine Corps at this point. So I was like, oh, okay.
Wow.
My only two options I found out was the Navy or the Army, and ironically, I have a family full of sailors and Seabees.
Mm.
So I actually went the route of family member of mine and went Seabee, went equipment operator. So
Okay.
I ended up looking forward to running, excavators, bulldozers, front end loaders, all the big stuff that moves dirt, fun stuff, graders, loaders, all that.
Okay.
So went into the delayed entry program because I was waiting for that specific job because I wanted something that was going to relate to something outside the Navy because I didn't know if I was going to do this long term, short term. So I just had to wait for a spot open. So I was actually in the delayed entry program for about 7 or 8 months, I believe, close to a full
Mhm.
year waiting for that spot to open up. It finally opened up, and it was a reserve spot. I said, "Screw it, I'll take it. Send me." I literally left for boot camp a month later.
Oh.
So, and it was an 8 year enlistment. There's supposed to be six active, two inactive, but on reserve side, it's all pretty much inactive unless you're active. So it works out.
Was it all shore
So
duty or?
uh, it depended on the unit that I
Mm.
once I got assigned to them. So then I went to boot camp. Of all places, the Navy sends you to just outside of Chicago in Great Lakes, Illinois, off of Lake Michigan, where in the wintertime, like I got to experience, you get to march through knee deep snow on your way to different classes. It was awesome. In a trench coat. Like restricted as it is, and boots, black leather boots, freezing cold, wet boots.
Ugh.
Anyway, yeah, but boot camp was a good time. From there, once graduated, they sent me out to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Fort Lost
Ugh.
in the Woods.
I was gonna say
Yep,
Lost in the Woods.
Lost in the Woods. I was there for I was there for an extra month because I got in trouble. Uh, got held back for a month. Yeah. I got a little mouthy with they put me as a class leader, I'm tall guy, I'm smart, I'm talkative, whatever, blah 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 blah
Hmm.
blah, not tooting my own horn. But no, they put me as a class leader, and then I had a guy in my class who was coming into the US, getting his citizenship from the Philippines. Um it was a little more, how do I express this for him? He's out there, than the rest. He's very
Hmm.
like wanted to be noticed. But so we would get dropped off or dropped off on the bus or on and off the bus at this spot. The truck's, like a bus stop, but it was in the
Hmm.
middle of the base. And then we would have to walk over to, whatever classroom phase we're at, whatever equipment we were training on that week. So we're supposed to do cadences over to that area. Well, he insisted on being the cadence caller most of the time, which most of the time I was like, no, let somebody else do it. Let someone else do it. Because when he did cadences, he would do like popular pop culture songs. So he would be like doing Justin Bieber, and it looked. We were already in Digi Blue in the middle of Missouri, marching to heavy equipment to go be, and your baby, baby, baby. Oh. So when you get to the class, all you hear from the Marines and the Air Force and the Army all day is what you can imagine. So one day I just finally had enough, and I kind of like went off. I'm like, dude, we need to keep it to the normal military stuff. And he kind of got snappy with me. And then when I mocked him, that was the key. I mocked his accent
Ah,
for a split second, and he took it
Ryan,
and I lost my cool. I
you
lost my
can't
cool.
do
I'm not
that.
not normally like that. I know, can't do that, but it was just I was getting so embarrassed for everyone too because like it's just nonstop. So yeah, and then of course my senior chief, pregnant with a Filipino man's child, so she didn't like me coming in off paper. So yeah, they made an example out you, boy, which is fine. I get it. Looking back
Yeah.
on it, I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, they kept me there for an extra month. From there, when I got home, because I was a reserve, mind you, was home for a month, hanging out with my friends, party and all that. Finally back, boot camp and all that. I got a phone call one night. I was at the bar. They're like, Lewis. I'm like, yeah, who's this? They're like, B1, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to put his name out here.
Right.
But he's like, how you feel about Afghanistan these days? I'm like, well, it looks like a shithole. I mean, it doesn't look too cool. He's like, well, you want to go? I'm like, fuck yeah. He goes, all right, I'll put you down for fuck yeah. Literally a month later, I was on a plane heading to California, to Ventura, to Port Hueneme, for pre-mob. We started pre-mobilization right there for the next 3-4 months, and we flew out Mother's Day out to California, and then by the time we were done with pre-mob, we were leaving country just after my birthday, just shy of Halloween. So my birthday's September, so yeah, right in that September October time frame is when we
Ah.
left country. And that journey from California to Maine, Maine to Ireland, where our landing gear broke down and we were stuck in the Dublin airport for a day and a half. And they gave us a whole terminal where they like kept us in there. So we had a bar in like an exchange store. We
Oh boy.
cleaned them, we drained them in a day, and we smoked all the cigarettes and bought out all the tobacco. There were guys buying $900 bottles of whiskey and just going to town
You
in the
can't even
bathroom.
blame them because, like, you
The
may not
next
make it
day
home.
the next day we are gonna be in Kyrgyzstan or wherever on some fucking tarmac for 3 days. I think. I don't know. I slept so much after that. I was so jet lagged. And then you just
Yeah.
wake up and all you smell is diesel engines. They open the door and you're like, welcome to Afghanistan. You're like, like, all right, here we are. All you
Oh
smell is
man.
diesel generators. So yeah, I was out there for what 11 months and some change where I ended up getting hurt on a job site. I ended up losing my footing, falling out of the ceiling rafters inside of a K-span. K-span's a big building that
Hmm.
spans like a half a circle of, on the ground. We're building living quarters, little bedrooms, individual 10-foot ceilings. So I fell off the ceiling rafters to the concrete, blew out my knee,
Ooh.
had to get wheelbarrowed outside to put it in the back of a pickup truck Humvee that was there from the 90s, and then take that bumpy ride over to the medic tent where they had to
Ooh.
reset my kneecap. And I dislocated my
Oh.
kneecap. Ah, so then I was then at risk because the terrain was all rocky and everything. I couldn't do anything further. So then I had to sit in Bagram after they threw me on a small plane back to Bagram Airfield. That was at Fob Shank, aka Rocket City. They would literally get bombarded with mortar attacks probably about 30 to 40 times a day randomly as shit because it was in a fishbowl on the range. So we just all we would hear is just incoming, incoming. Sorry, PTSD for anybody listening. But
Well, I mean, my ex-husband has told me that when he was over in Afghanistan, because he was over there to break down a fob,
oh yeah,
um,
yep,
and
any
he
of those.
said they daily, just daily, rockets getting launched. They never really like landed per se, but they were getting launched every day.
So like in modern today news, people can relate. The Iron Dome. People see it
Hmm.
or hear about that in Israel. It's like an anti-missile defense system, air
Hmm.
defense system. We had those on the ground and on most bases. They're called Sea Whizzes. You would hear it, and then it would lock in on the incoming things, and then you would just hear bird, and then you would just see the fireworks show in the sky.
Yeah.
It would get to a point where we would hear the alarm system, and we wouldn't even drop our hammers. We would just keep going,
Yeah.
if it's the day, it's the day,
Yeah, he said that there were a couple that came. There was one that came very, very close to
Oh hell
where
yeah!
he was sleeping.
Oh yeah!
But other than that, like thankfully, it wasn't.
We had a guy on a mob that had one bounce off the ground and launch a piece of shrapnel through the tent while he was in the galley, just sitting down at the table by himself, and he caught it in the face or in the shoulder or the neck or something. I forgot exactly where. He lives. He still lives. Gnarly scar, from like here
Yeah,
down. I'm like, ooh.
yeah, it was an absolute shit show over there for sure.
I made the most of it. I you know,
I'm sure
I
you did.
me being me, like I'm not even kidding you. Like I was in the galley one day and this gal came up to me. I just got at my, awarded my warfare device at the time.
Hmm.
And this gal comes up to me and she's like, "How do I get that?" She was in the Navy as well, but a different unit. I'm like, "Well, this is a CB combat warfare device. Like you have to go on a field exercise and, pass all of our qualifications." She's like, "Let me talk to your chief." I'm like, "Well, after I'm done eating, I can see if he wants to talk to you." Like, we're in war. Like, you just want chest candy is what we call it. You just want something for your
Yeah.
uniform. So it turns out she was the director of the radio station there in the broadcasting on Bagram Airfield Base. And I was like, "Get the fuck out of here. Really? Like you run the radio show?" She goes, "Yeah, I do a talk show in the morning." And blah blah blah. I'm like, "No kidding. The steelworkers listen to you guys all the time." So then I started becoming friends with her, and a little deployment friendship, blah 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 blah. And yeah. Plus she had the hookups to all the new movies coming out. She'd have that downloaded, ready to go, and the new music. She wasn't bad. The boys would say she was a deployment 9, maybe a Michigan 4, but
Oh my,
I was, oh
I
god.
can't with you. Oh
I'm gonna write
my
that down.
Lord.
Yeah.
Right?
This is where Ryan lost all respect from his viewers.
I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's
uh,
fine.
ma'am, if you're listening, if you're still out there, much respect. Thank you for the fun times. It's good times. Good times. I don't next question.
Oh,
Oh yeah, I was still talking about my military experience. Boy, does this keep going.
oh man.
So
So
yeah,
when did you come home?
it was this school year because I surprised I did the whole like, "Oh, I'm gonna go surprise my dad. I'm gonna go surprise my mom." That whole cheesy thing. My mom was working in the school district as she has been for 20 years, so I surprised her. So that, man, I want to say it was close to Mother's Day. It was about a year since I left.
Hmm.
Because I did some time in Virginia, recovering and rehab with my knee injury. Because when they flew me home, that was a journey. Um, Knee injury, I was still mobile. Like I had crutches or a wheelchair for the most part, depending on the distance. But my leg was so swollen. I'm allergic to NSAIDs, anti-inflammatories as it is. So
Oh.
yeah, so that like eliminates most of the fun. And if I, inflame, I meant flamed. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
so wild to say it. Don't. Can we cut that? Anyway, so no, like there I am with a busted kneecap, and they had to fly me out of Bagram to Landstuhl, Germany. Landstuhl.
Mm-hmm.
Um, on a C-130, I believe. Yeah, it was a smaller guy. So they have to have us on a gurney, and
Mm-hmm.
it snaps into this rack. And you can do 3 high or 2 high. Well, this guy below me who had multiple injuries from, combat related things, who
Mm-hmm.
was not going to wake up anytime soon, planned. His nap was planned. Um, so they put him below me, and oh,
Losing your mind, so hang on.
why'd you mute it?
Because not everyone wants to listen to my dog yip yap.
You just raise your hand, and then I'll just be like, okay, this is pause time.
Okay. Okay.
And we're
Um,
back.
we are back. My dog decided to have a moment. She's been super fun today. So, anyways, you were saying, guy below you, combat
Yeah,
injuries.
so he was non-mobile, and so they strapped me into the gurney above him, and of course they got me on an IV and stuff to keep my fluids up,
Mm-hmm.
and strong painkillers. So of course I have to pee on this flight like every fucking 30 minutes,
With a bad
and
knee.
I'm with a bad knee above a guy who's got all the wires and tubes and everything attached to him, and he is put into a sleep, and he's just moaning in this sleep the whole time from his
Ugh.
injuries. Respectfully, I hope that guy is well and good. Prayers.
No,
I would not want to be
absolutely.
in his shoes, but I looked at this Air Force dude. I'm like, why did you put me above him? Like
Literally.
I got a bad knee. Like I gotta get up and pee every 30 minutes because y'all got me pumped with fluids. Well, we got my levels, my hydration was bad, so they were just like
Mm.
concerned about that. I'm like, then sit me in a chair. There's no chair. We have cargo nets. I'm like, I don't. They're like, well, then it's gonna sway and it might hurt your knee. I'm like, you right. so
So splinter that shit and put me in the cargo net.
so yeah, from however long that was, I'm sure it was a couple hours. But yeah, from Bagram to Germany, I had to do that. But no, then I spent a week in Germany, and I checked in twice, spoke to the doctors a couple times. They're like, "Okay, we're flying you home. You're going to Virginia to recover." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Flight doesn't leave for a week. What am I supposed to do to then? Oh, just wait until 4. You can come out with us. Oh, okay. They took me on the Autobahn, 120 mile an hour on that bad boy. Took me to castles. We went and drank. It was a good time. Great time. I don't remember any of it for the most part. I have a beer stein. That's my only memory from Germany. I
Can't
got a couple
imagine why.
pictures too. Yeah, it was good.
It
Good
was a
time.
good time.
Yeah, there's a photo of me in a wheelchair with my leg propped up, and there's these two beer house stein gals in the whole thing, and I look stupefied. So
You're gonna
that
have to
that
show me that picture
no
after this episode.
no no. Brian had a shaved head at that time. Wasn't the greatest look. Percocets do wild things to a boy at that age.
They do. They do.
uh,
So
so
fast forward to you coming home.
yeah. So at that time, we're in the Obama administration. Not to throw politics or anything like that there, but at that time, no, there was a policy going around, and it was really scary to us in the military. I had buddies, if their neck was too wide, they were getting kicked out of the military for being overweight or unfit. And it was stressful. So when I came back, they were like, "Okay, we'll start your discharge paperwork." I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. I don't want to. Like, this is just a
Hmm.
dislocation. Like, I'm okay. Like, we did the X-rays, nothing's severely torn. There's minute tears." So I had to fight with the Navy for the next 8, 9 months. I wasn't allowed to join a command. I wasn't allowed to work out. Nothing. I had to keep going to a doctor and then keep going to specialist. And I had to go to like 3 different specialists outside of the Navy because I was reserves with a written explanation, that I would be okay to perform my duties after physical therapy. And it was tough not being able to do anti-inflammatory, showing up to PT pushing through the swelling and everything to get that thing
Yeah.
moving. And oh my lord! And I did it. I was finally deemed fit for full duty. And the day I was on the call with the detailer, because I knew her personally, she's like, I got a couple options available, but nothing or anything reasonable, or I can send you to the local battalion, and they're getting ready to mobilize right back to pretty much where you were. I'm like, nope, we ain't doing that again.
Hard
No,
pass.
like that was a good enough life experience. I'm glad I made it back. Like had enough close calls. Like I just no, I'm not interested in doing the ant farm lifestyle. What else you got for me? And she pointed out like there was a position in a regiment unit. Regiment units for us is like the instructor unit. There's one on the East Coast in Gulfport, Mississippi. There's one on the West Coast in Port Hueneme for this all the CBs, and that's
Got
where
it.
you go through your training. You either go through there or there.
Okay.
My opportunity was through the West Coast in Port Hueneme, and I was like, I'll take it. She's like, okay. So at first, it was going to start off that I was going to help out with the textbook, training on things, mind you, which is hilarious. Can I run off screen for just a moment to grab something?
Yes. Do it. Do it. Do it. Kind of half scared at this, right?
I went the wrong way. I thought it was going to be.
Oh, you're
I
totally
warned
fine.
you. I warned you. Okay, so this is the Naval Educational TRA 14081 Equipment Operator Basic. Boom. This was my job when I first joined the regiment unit. I was going to teach courses and classes on a whiteboard about equipment operating. Yeah. Oh, yeah. To how like nuts and bolts go together in a U.
Like excavators and stuff.
Yeah.
This was
So
before
luckily,
Blippi's time, I see.
oh, absolutely. I think I met Blippy when he was in the Air Force. I'm not gonna
Oh my
lie.
God.
I think I knew that guy. But anyway, so that was my original job, was to, dryly teach that until, thank gosh for Marlboro menthol black shorts. Not a smoker anymore, but at the time I was in the smoke pit and some Marines joined me. Y'all don't smoke. Smoking's bad. But a bunch of Marines and blue collared instructors, they wore blue polo shirts. They were out
Hmm.
smoking with me and everything, and they were talking blah 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 blah, and they were talking about field exercises and how they wanted to change up some of the uh, the aspect to it, and they really want to rev up, different training tactics and strategies. So we just I kind of butted in and started chirping along with them, and they invited me up to FACS. They're like, "Oh, we can make arrangements. You can come, no problem." I'm like, "Oh, all right, you already okay, no problem." I must have. Who are you? So
Right.
yeah. So apparently, I was talking to like the big dogs and the right dogs at the right time, and I said the right
Oh.
thing. This is where I then became like a unicorn in the Navy because I was still attached to the same unit, but then I was being requested by the active duty cats to come out to every single field exercise every month for like 3 weeks at a time, which is stressful on the home life and the home relationships and things. But
Hmm.
I was pretty much put as one of the range coaches for the field exercises for an active duty battalion as a reservist. So I went from selling Harley Davidson parts to throwing that aside to going playing cops and robbers and, cowboys and Indians out in the woods in Northern California, teaching kids how to, defend themselves if their base is attacked by insurgents and other parties and stuff with like live blank ammunition and explosions and full on simulational war. Like it was so
Right.
cool. And I did that for the last 5 years of my career.
Now, did that kind of trigger anything, especially because you had been over there? Or
At
were you kind of able to
first,
mentally be like, this is just practice?
any everyone that I experienced that deployed and was in some of the shit that then went back through the training of field exercise, any of them that got to, play, as we like to
Hmm.
call it again, it's like a kid in the candy store.
Right.
You see them, they're, unloading a magazine of live blank crimped ammunition, but it still makes the sound. It's got the flash and the full effect. Oh yeah, they're having a blast out there. Some take it serious, some don't. You pick out, you get a weed out through those. That's my job, and that's you know higher management job in the battalion or in the unit. To kind of straighten out their people. But for the most part, it's a great experience. It didn't really trigger much. I mean, I work differently than most. I feel
Yeah. Oh,
I've been through so much
the co-host.
Hi puppies.
Hi.
Hey, it's okay. Mine does it all the time.
Yeah, she's
Um,
just popping in.
I when my life growing up was traumatic enough, I think, from my experiences, and it wasn't like rough family or anything like that per se. It's like the dumb shit I put myself in as like a wild child and an
Right.
adventurous dude in northern Flint, Michigan.
You wild and adventurous? No, not at
um
all.
Remember those Girls Gone Wild ads you used to see all the time in the early 2000s? Most of
Yes.
that was filmed in Genesee, Michigan at a Club Sub-Zero, literally 18 minutes of a walk from my window.
From your window. I'm so done. My window.
Cut through the cornfield, you get to Francis Road. Cut through the next, you get to Mount Morris, dude. And you just take Mount Morris to Genesee, and it's right past the bridge. Let's go. That's right, it's Girls Gone Wild. Yeah, I was 15. I was
Oh, that was
15.
the dream right there.
Oh, we learned a lot young.
I'm sure you did fine. Everything is fine. Oh my God.
Yep.
So, what got you onto TikTok? Like, was it everyone was doing it during COVID kind of thing, or?
Nope, nope, nope. So at that time, okay, so now here we are. I got out of the military. Let's go back. I got out of the
Okay.
military. My contract ended 2019, November 11th. No, no, I'm sorry, November 15th, 2019. My grandma's passing anniversary, ironically. So that's easy to remember. I'm sorry, it might actually be the 19th. I'm just, now that I'm thinking about it, it's 11/19. But anyway, I'm a dummy.
Oh, it's
Um,
all good.
so no, I got out at that point, and some career opportunities were presenting themselves to me at that point, where a couple other vets were opening a dispensary in my area. So I jumped on that bandwagon, and
Hmm.
they hired me on as an assistant manager. So I was an assistant manager at a veteran-owned and run dispensary in northern Michigan, in like the middle of nowhere, in beautiful country. It's like dream job. Um,
Hmm.
After a while, that job kind of grew and developed into other things, and then it kind of it kind of lost its spark. It just kind of became like a chore, and it just
Hmm.
you know, I wanted to venture out. I wanted to do other things, so I actually dove into another store for a little while that was closer to home. It was more
Hmm.
reasonable because at the time Piper was only 2, 3. Her mom and I split at the beginning of 2020, a couple months after I got out of the military. So we're just kind of evolutionary process, moving, trying to figure out where I was going to stay and stuff. But
Hmm.
got that job at the other dispensary, started getting the wheels going on that, and then I actually met a brand rep for a company that we sold their product on the stores. So then she actually offered me a position to do the same thing she was doing because she needed to lighten her load, and that was like dream job. The company
Right.
was out of Colorado. It was salary. I traveled all over the state of Michigan. I set up a huge fun display out in the parking lot, big inflatable like octopus tent thing with a table and
Love
flyers,
it.
keychains and T-shirts and games, like a big Jenga and the radio and karaoke. Oh yeah, big parking lot party everywhere I went. So I was Mr. Fun Guy with the gummies. Uh,
Hmm.
so that then, the job started getting, there were some differences, and I'm a guy that will give somebody so much, like I'll let people run with things.
Hmm.
Okay, I won't speak out on it. Like I'll kind of take a mental note. Like, okay, I see what you're doing here. You can
Right.
use my idea for this. You can take credit for that little thing. But then
Right.
when I got our reviews back, and all of my doings and accomplishments were claimed as someone else's that was to then
No.
move up, and then I wasn't then even then suggested for a move up to fill in her spot. Somebody new came in and filled her spot after I was told. Then I kind of get a little salty, and I'm just like, wow.
Right.
So, at that time, I was kind of kicking her in the tires. Like, do I stay? Do I go? What do I do? And my daughter's mother actually was already on there, a supporter. She wasn't really going live, but she followed a lot of people that were. Um, and she's like, you have the personality. You would do so well on there if you just get yourself on there. And I was hesitant for a while, and then finally I just started doing it. I was with this girl at this time. I was in her basement. We were kind of going through an early on separation at that point.
Hmm.
Um, and I started doing basement karaoke on an exercise bike in my ex's basement on TikTok. And then I would do wacky wild dance boxes, kind of like battle boxes or box battles that
Love
annoy
it.
the hell out of everybody. But what I would do is I would make people move around like I do for certain gifts.
Hmm.
I would even make them put a finger up their nose and make them into a human bowling ball for hand hearts. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I was just throwing shit at the wall, whatever is creative. I might actually bring
Right.
those back one day. But yeah, that was about 3 years ago, 2021,
Hmm.
post pandy, that was all starting to chill out there. Pandemic, I was door dashing. I was like, oh my gosh, everybody's at home, but they want food. They don't want to go anywhere. They're afraid to leave, but they want their food and they're willing to pay. I'm like, I'm just gonna go sit in a nice area and we're just gonna pick and choose from them orders. I was making
Oh, sure.
stupid money.
Oh, sure.
Stupid money. Oh, I don't miss it, but you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah,
miss
I
it.
totally know what you mean.
Hey, I was just driving around all day to seeing everything, but no traffic. Just go through the drive-through, grab a bag, drive to the house, put it on the porch, take a picture, go to the next place. Like,
Yep.
no problem. Okay. And at the end of the night, go sit in a park, watch the sunset. It's great. It's great. But no, TikTok just started kind of growing, and then this is always what I've kind of been wanting and always wanted to tailor to do.
Hmm.
Entertainment has always been my calling. I was in student news in high school, always the class clown. I literally had a pizza delivered to the window to me, to my desk, because I sat right next to the window. I swear to God, Domino's brought it right to me. I sat on the table, opened it, and I'll never forget this. Mr. O'Henley, Paul O'Henley, I know you just retired. Congratulations on your retirement. He looked at me and goes, "Did you really just Spicoli my class?" I'm like, "Would you like a slice?" He's like, "Get out of here and go to the office now." Like, that was me. That was me. I was offering, I was offering things to the security guards at my school, like cigs and, smoky treats and like his hall pass, like, you didn't see me,
Yeah, you have not changed that much.
I've been like this since like junior high.
But can we talk about how difficult it can be on TikTok, especially if you're any sort of an attractive person?
Oh, thank you.
I just especially with you being a
No,
guy,
I
us
get what
women
you're
are kind
saying.
of used to it, and everyone's like, stop just objectifying her. But I feel like guys get nailed, and then they're like, well, you should just accept it.
That's why I think I am mastering it or honing in so well on the funny, awkward stares and the awkward silence moments because, yeah, you've seen it. You've been in my chat. You get some of the
I
most
have.
random things being said to you as a guy, and it's okay to say. It's okay. It's okay to catcall a guy. You can do it, but you're just sitting there and you're like, "You want to what? My what? You're
Some of
what
the things
right
that get
now?"
said, I'm just literally looking at my phone straight up like I literally cannot believe I'm actually reading that sentence, and I'm like,
Some will just say what others think, and I, as a creator, it's tough. It puts us in a tough position because you got
it
to be like,
does.
"Hey, thanks for coming in here and liking me enough to make a comment," but let's reel that back in a little bit, okay? Like this is supposed to be,
I just
not
feel like there's
necessarily
not a ton
family
of
friendly, but
yeah, I feel like there's not a lot of respect in like the chats anymore. Like people just know that they can come in, say something really out of pocket, and you just have to deal with it as a creator.
it's the
Because what are
internet
you
though.
supposed to do? Call them out on it because that makes you look bad, kind of thing.
It's the internet because, like, for say, if you were to go live, I can create an account called Buff Hercules, and I can put a picture on it and upload a Hercules video, and it gets me, 5,000 viewer or followers, and then I go in there and I got a gifter badge of 11, and it's freshly blue, and I go, hey, nice tots, or some shit like that. And you're like, do I block this guy or do I hope he, like, helps me out a little bit here? Do I block
Yeah.
this guy? It's like,
Yeah, you
what do
do.
we
You're like,
do? What do we
you don't want
do?
to, you don't want to like have it narrowed down to, hi, Nessa. You don't want to have it narrowed down to it's a business decision, but it's a fucking business decision.
It really is. I think it's uncomfortable and weird to say, but that's
Yeah.
why I put myself out there the way I do. So that way it
Hmm.
kind of takes the business feel out of it. I want to come to you like for the gifting and everything. Like I put so much effort into making sure I've got a reaction or a sound to the gift that feels rewarding when you send that $5 money
Oh,
gun.
yeah.
I'm gonna spin on the pole. Like I'm only in 250 of that. Yeah, I might be the cheap hoe here, but hey, I put a smile on
Yeah,
somebody's face. $5 is $5, okay? A box of
exactly.
cereal is not even $5 anymore. They're all $7 and $8 a box of cereal, which is insane. Gallon of milk is $5. So that's a gallon of milk every time I'm spinning on that pole. If you want to look at it that way,
You're working for it. You're just working for those
I'm working.
groceries.
I'm working for that milk.
But I mean, like, that's kind of it's so frustrating sometimes because you do have to be like, well, I can't be like a total bitch because then my viewers are gonna go down and and like you don't want that reputation. But at the
That's
same
the
time, you're trying
fine
to like
line.
respect yourself, and you're just
Exactly,
like,
though.
at what level of gifting is the ratio of like gifting versus the amount of like bullshit I will take from this person?
That is where you have to almost. So I don't, if I say this, it might make more sense to some people than it does others. But
Hmm.
as a creator, I've been doing this for 3 years. I've went
Hmm.
through the trials and the errors and the emotions and all of that, up and down. What we all kind of, and what you'll notice with a lot of us, is you have to present yourself, but you're yourself acting as your best self, where
Hmm.
you have to leave your emotions at the door, because then if you're the girl sitting there crying, as we've all seen, or the guy that's all pissed off and doesn't want to say anything and wants to act like a moody guy,
We've
we've
also
all
seen.
seen those. Also, all we all seen that. It doesn't get a good positive reaction every time. It gets sympathy, it hits people in the guts. It's a bullshit move, but it's
Yeah.
acting nonetheless, because you
Hmm.
felt it was wise enough to go on there to spill out your shit to people, to make them somebody feel bad, to hopefully get you the sympathy vote. Same thing, but I try to do it in a more different way. Like, I'm never going to go on there when I'm angry. I'll try not to.
Right.
There's moments where I've gotten upset. It's like, come on, quit harassing, quit making. I try
Hmm.
to squash shit when I get angry. I'll never use my talents for you know to reap and sow from others, exposure. I'm not going to trauma bond. I can't
Right.
do that shit. I can't.
Exactly.
I can't bring myself down to trauma bond. Enough people trauma bond, and that we'll get to that here soon anyway. But yeah, you'll see it's not necessarily a fake facade, but it's almost like a shield. But if you make your shield too known, then you'll get those weirdos that'll try to poke at it and mess with it. And that's like, I come in all lightheartedly and I'll be like, hey, you know, I noticed that thing that's a little crooked on the wall, and you'll just see people fucking no, no, it's not. Like you just watch
Yeah.
them like frizz and frazzle out, and it's like, hey, 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 remember,
That
this
is
is
the
all for
thing.
fun. You're
Like
here for entertainment.
I can say from personal experience, obviously, like knowing you off app, like you are the same person on as you are off, but as we all do, we kind of let our guard down a little bit more when we're not on the app. Like we're still the same people, but the things we're willing to talk about are a little more in depth. Like it's not as surface level, and
Right.
if we're just sitting there like schlumped in a chair, just like, dude, fuck today. Like we can do that off app where over here we're like, today had its challenges, but it really wasn't that bad. Like, it's blah 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 blah. So it's like I know for me, I can't go stream when my energy's off because it's a blessing and a curse when you start to have like a quote loyal following because they
Hmm.
will pick up on that. And they're like, "What's
Oh
wrong?
yeah.
What's wrong? What's wrong?" And
Oh
as
yeah.
much as I love that I have that much of an effect on that community where they can pick up that something's off, I have to be careful and make sure that I'm not jumping on when my energy is really off and I'm trying to fake it because I've done that a couple of times and it
Mhm.
has not ended well.
And you'll also notice too, like how you can orchestrate the whole mood for everybody. Like
Yeah.
you set the tone and like it's wild. But
So, yeah.
we as if you boil it down to simple things, we as human sapiens, Homo sapiens, whatever, we are a species that usually follows from the louder, the stronger, the more, the creator is technically, an alpha presence or the star, or
Hmm.
then people will kind of follow that narrative. It's just who we are. It's instincts.
Yeah. And it's also like really hard sometimes when you're online, like to not give away too much personal information
Yeah,
because there are so many crazies out there. Oh my God.
yeah. At this point, I've dealt with the crazies. I just jump, jump. If you're gonna try doing something stupid, great. Let's get this squashed. Present it now, then don't make me wait for it.
Yeah.
I'm at that point with it. I don't even know how to touch on that one.
Yeah. I mean, I literally,
Crazy's gonna be crazy. That's bigger shoes than I can touch to right now.
yeah. I know you have definitely dealt with your share of crazy off of which like how the fuck does that affect you mentally overall? Like obviously dealing with all the shit that you've like dealt with and then you get on this app where it's supposed to be a good time and you wind up getting somebody latched onto you that is just like the fuck?
Oh,
Like,
before this whole troll situation, I had a gal that lives in my state that was on probation for sentencing to scaring her date into the bathroom. This is all public record and everything.
right.
But no, I had to add her to a restraining order. Like I had to get a protection order, and I had to make a statement for the courts to add to her case and everything. But she trapped this dude in the bathroom, scared him into the bathroom. She was freaking out that he wouldn't come out. Why are you coming out and hanging out with me, kind of thing. So she found me through TikTok and
Hmm.
realized that I was in the same state, got my Snapchat, and then just started hitting me with like solicitational
Hmm.
ads and stuff. And whoo-wee. When I finally made it clear to her, like, I have no interest in anything you will bring to the table. For
Hmm.
me, and your behavior is bananas. Like, you gotta chill out. She
Hmm.
snapped. It was like death threats immediately. And then I even had an officer come to my home, female officer, gave her the phone. Like that, she has now called me about 600 times. I have lost count on a blocked number, like unavailable, whatever. Just ring and
Yeah.
ring. It would ring again and then ring again all day for like 2 days straight. She threatened this female officer, and even admitted to her identity on the phone. So then that officer contacted the bureau down there that she had a pending case through, and revved up her charges. Even that, it was crazy, crazy. So crazy's gonna be crazy. You're never gonna be able to avoid it or whatnot. Not like my current situation where they're going after a friend because I
Hmm.
hang out with them and I like they feel like like this troll feels like they're losing my attention. Whoever it may be, it's wild.
Yeah. That
At
whole
the
situation
end of the
is
day,
cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs for
unfortunately,
sure.
yeah, you just gotta sweep it under the rug, ignore it, not really try to give it any light, but in my case, they're like using my platform to attack somebody else, which is just, and they make 1,000 different accounts. Like I've never seen this type of shit before, but eh.
Yeah, I think the
And
craziest thing that's
here I
happened to
am.
me, I'm still like small enough they may not even know. Like it's
Fair.
fine. I think the craziest thing that's happened to me was like I had this one troll come in and my mod's blocked and muted. And then they came in off of 15 to 17 different accounts to say the same fucking thing. And I was like, how did you log in and out of that so fast? It was like my one mod was literally like, I'm just a trophy mod and I had to work today. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, she totally was kidding. But, it's just like these keyboard warriors are just exhausting sometimes. Like, I'm just here to make people feel good and like feel like they have a safe place to like exist for a hot second because the world sucks right now. So,
Yeah. I feel like everybody's just so revved up on edge to defend their resume or their reputation. Like any little meteor strike from the chat will just set somebody like
oh, see, I troll back. I'm
yeah.
awful. I troll
Yeah,
back a little.
but not a lot of people have that ability.
They
It
don't.
strikes them and it hits them so hard, and then we as friends are burdened with, oh my gosh, you were burned by a troll.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
honest to God learned how to troll back from Rose because she is literally the expert at trolling back. And I was just
yeah,
like, okay, we're gonna try that.
because she has a good realization of where she's at in her life
Yeah.
and where she's going, and she understands that it's just somebody that's having a bad day that wants to try to make somebody else have a bad day with them by saying
Mm-hmm.
something, or starting some, gaslighting some, and as a creator, if you just look at it like, like I said in a video, I just look at everybody as their child self. I went through a big mental coaching a while back when I was dealing with some mental health, issues and stuff. Like, excuse me, like having the confidence to being successful, especially jumping into TikTok. There's millions of
Yeah.
users, and as a guy, you have to look at who you're going up against. Your competition is who your viewers are viewing as well, and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. And then you go through the questioning process and phase, like, oh, am I, as good, or am I, what am I doing wrong? That whole BS we all go through as humans.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, you got to look at it as like a universal trial. Like, this is what the problem is. This is what's presenting itself. How are you going to respond? Are you going to crumble it up and throw it in the bin? Or are you going to, get to the board and start writing out different ideas, trying different things? The biggest issue I see with people nowadays is they're too afraid to even try shit.
Honestly. It's
Too afraid to
everyone's,
even
yeah.
make the effort. Everyone's got a million brilliant ideas. Everyone knows what's best, what to do, but are they doing it themselves? Everyone's got the advice of mothers and fathers, but you look at them and you're like, oh, this is
Yeah.
what you preach, mofo. And that's
Basically,
what I'm trying to get better on doing to myself. But yeah,
I mean, I have
we
people
all
that,
struggle with that.
yeah, I definitely have a couple friends that have all these big plans and dreams and ideas, and they just never do anything to make that happen. And then there's me, where, you know, this podcast may never be anything more than a small time gig. I would love for it to be, a big mental
You're
health
doing it
movement,
though.
and I'm doing it.
Who
I'm showing
cares if
up
it gets big or
every
not?
week.
Hmm.
And I think people need to realize you just need to take that jump. Just
Hmm.
do the damn thing. Otherwise,
Nobody
like,
started in the NFL. Rookie of the year was just a movie. You don't get
yeah,
drafted into the big leagues to pitch for the Cubs at 6 years old, 12
nope,
years old, whatever.
you
No,
definitely
you
don't.
got to train, you got to practice, you got to study,
You
you
got to
got to work.
sacrifice.
Nothing's handed.
Nope.
Some people get lucky.
They do, but once you get lucky, you have to work twice as hard to maintain that. And I think people don't realize that, oh, they had a lucky break. In order to maintain that lucky break, you may have a lucky break, but in order to maintain that, you have to work actually twice as hard as you would have moving your way up to maintain that.
I've had so many lucky break opportunities and changes in my life. It's it's unfathomable, honestly. Like I used to hang out at the Comedy Store in my off time being an
Hmm.
instructor, and I can't tell you the amount of comedians I've sat and just shot or shoot the shit with, sitting out there having a cigarette or something, just talking life and whatnot. And they're like, "Why don't you get up there?" I'm like, "I want to." Like that's my biggest dream in life is to get up and be a stand up comedian, not necessarily the Matt Rife type style, but just like telling stories, talking philosophies, views, way of life, that kind of stuff. And I know I'll be good at it. I've done it before. It's just right now my focus is on my kid, but I'm not ever going to give up that. As soon as my kid is all set and good to go, like I'm hitting that comedy thing. I'll be
As
that
you should.
40-year-old. Yeah, I'm not giving up that goal. I'm going to in the meantime my next step is a podcast. I know I've been talking about it forever, like I was just saying, practice what you preach. But
Hmm.
I just been waiting for the right thing. With me, I'm always like I need that thing to line up. And I know that sounds like an excuse. It is kind of an excuse, but I don't know. I don't know. I've always gone off of like that spontaneous right in the moment thing. I've never really pressed or pushed. I just I've learned if I let things kind of fizzle and ride and shrooms have helped me with that a lot, big time too, by the way. I know
Yeah.
that was a topic I mentioned and I wanted to dive into that to talk about that a little bit.
We're gonna have to do a
But
two-parter at this point.
I'm sorry. I talk a
No, it's
lot.
totally fine. Like I've loved every second of this.
Um, but no, like, yeah, if I can go back and talk to my 21-year-old self, oh my gosh, where I would be at in life right now is insane. Not like so much like, oh, the Super Bowl winner is going to be, I don't, none of that. Just the advice I can give myself and the coaching I could give myself on how to take on different situations and manage stress and, not freak the fuck out so quickly and panic, and I know some of that's from trauma and shit and life experiences, but now at this stage of life where I'm at, my 6-year-old and stuff, I, I I feel like I'm now have the tools to take everything from my past and not dump it on her, but give her her own stage and
Hmm.
use what I've learned to coach, meanwhile still letting her fail or succeed at something. And if she's failing, I'm there to go, hey, maybe try this, maybe I've seen this. And and it's been fun. It's been super fun just to kind of step back and like calm my damn self down and not stress about shit, simplify things, looking at other people, assholes like they're just upset babies that want a snack pack. What are you really mad about? Why are you so grumpy? you know
Hmm.
Looking at people like that, looking at situations like, okay, there's the negative, there's the stress, great, there's every worst case scenario to this situation, but what's the good? Like what over here, what can I do to get out of this like that's what I'm going to start focusing on a little bit more. There's a great video out there from a Navy SEAL named Jocko Willink. Anybody that starts laying it on me that they're stressing out about stuff, I immediately bring up this video, and it's called Good. And he literally just goes over, how his troops always were, you know, hesitant on approaching him with any issues because all he would respond with is good, and then would just walk away. And later on, he would come back and be like, you know why I said good? Because no matter what the problem is, you have no other choice, but you're going to jump over that to get to the next issue. And you're going to have another issue, and you're
Hmm.
just going to have to say good and get to the next thing. You know, embrace the suck is what we used to say
Yeah,
in the military.
you have to.
Semper Gumby, always flexible.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Fucking so dumb.
Oh my
So dumb.
God.
But no, it's true. It's like that's where I learned a lot of my patience too, and I wish I could instill on others. Oh my gosh, the lack of patience in people. The I want it now, Bronco brute. Give it to me. Wonk wonk. She's a bad egg. There's so many fucking needy people out there, and I want it right now, right now. They don't have the
Yep.
patience to understand that a damn garden and zucchinis don't pop up overnight, man. It starts with a seed, and it takes about 3 to 5 months before you even start seeing fruit. But everybody just wants that rapid, quick shit. You all enjoy sitting in line at Chick-fil-A for 45 minutes to get a
Oh
chicken
my God.
sandwich. I'm I'm just gonna take the
Literally.
time and make my own, and I'm gonna be proud of it.
Honestly, you could literally make your own in that. You could go to the grocery store, come back, and make your own in the amount of time you're stuck in the Chick-fil-A aisle or line.
Unfortunately, it'll probably cost about the same too. Thanks,
Honestly, they're
inflation.
so expensive now. Oh my God. Ugh. Well,
We're in the
I
$5 society.
I had a freaking blast. I had not laughed this hard in a while. Um,
Good.
we need to have you back
Yeah.
because I'm literally looking at my notes right now and we missed a few things, but we hit a lot at the same time. Like I think there's a lot that people can take away from this,
I hope
and
so.
a lot that I took away from this actually. So I can't wait to
Good.
listen back through and tweak it a little and kind of absorb it all because there's some things that stuck out to me. So I'm definitely going to be diving into all of that. But thank you again so much for coming on. I'm
Thank
so
you.
glad we were able to finally do this.
Now I'm just gonna go on TikTok live and spin my happy little cheeks around the pole for every $5 sent to me.
Yeah. Go find Ryan. What's your TikTok handle?
Ryan is purple on almost all social media platforms. Just type in Ryan is purple, and I guarantee you'll find me.
Yep. And if you send him certain gifts, he does have to do the Jack Sparrow run. So that is
Yep.
always entertaining to watch.
Exiting notes, when in the time of darkness there's always light, y'all. You know, you can stress
There
all
is.
day about the dark, but it's fun in the light. Find the light. We all deal with our own darks. It's easy to sit there and expel it and put it on everyone, but at the end of the day, no one's gonna get it done except
But
for
you.
yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ugh. Well,
And we all start as equipment operators with a D1 Pinewood handled dozer, aka the shovel, before we ever get in the seat of an excavator. So, got to start somewhere.
we do. We do. All right, Ryan, this has been amazing. So thank you so
Mwah.
much. All right.